If you have just sprained your ankle, then I have the exact recovery guide for you. Now, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how I have actually rehabilitated my ankle using some exercises, but I've also incorporated one thing that people have not spoken about enough, and this is the central nervous system training. Now, anyone who knows anything about functional training, just using your body for maximum efficiency, they know that working out your central nervous system to activate it is very important for recovery, for performance, and many martial artists do it. For example, one of the GOATs in MMA, st-pierre, he used to incorporate, I don't know if he still does or not, but he incorporated central nervous system training in order to, engage his core, and this is to develop maximum efficiency in his workouts, especially in his core. Now, how does this relate to your ankle rehabilitation? Now, here's the thing. When you injure your ankle, when you have sprained your ankle, you lose a lot of your muscle to brain coordination in that area. Exactly, you lose a lot of your mobility, and you need to actually get that back. And as well as just doing ankle exercise just like every other person would, using their common sense, it's also important to actually develop the coordination as well using other variety of techniques. So this video, obviously there's going to be snippets and clips of me showing my exercises and also how I use the central nervous system training into my routine to be able to recover quicker. But there's a bit of a backstory here as well. So it was on the 19th of January of this year, 2025, when I sprained my ankle coming back, literally just walking back after a sparring session in wrestling. And I was walking on the mats and then my ankle just gave way. And then, I was gutted. I had wrestling competition coming up literally in less than a month. For me, I had to recover. And this was going to be my last competition just before Ramadan, fasting for the whole month. So I really wanted to be in peak performance, peak conditions. And I'll tell you now, if you haven't watched my other video where I competed in the wrestling competition, you can see the outcome of what happened. And that video alone will tell you, I'll put a link here or something, or there should be a banner, of how I done. And this all came down to my rehabilitation. Now listen, any of you guys who have injured your ankle, you've sprained your ankle in any other way, if you're watching this video, you may have injured your ankle. That's why you're watching it. You realize that you depend so much on your ankle for mobility, for movement. When we're in martial arts, when we're in any sport where you need to be, moving a lot, and agility and coordination are essential skills, you realize that your ankle is like top. Is right at the top when it comes to prioritizing your joints and your movement and stuff. If you've injured your ankle and then you've got competition coming up, or if you need to be in peak performance soon, you need to get something going and you need to recover quick. This is why I incorporated the central nervous system training. So here's the thing, guys. No matter what, in your recovery process, your focus should be consistency in recovering. You should be prioritizing your health. You should be focusing on your nutrition. You should be focusing on getting adequate sleep, and you should be focusing on, when you're in the gym, you should be focusing on, doing light plyometrics as you ease into your recovery. You should be working on rehabilitation exercises. And I would even say you can kind of calm down a bit with the intense training that you may have been doing, and you can jump on the weights a bit, because I do believe that there is a place for weights and weight training in martial arts, in functional training, but it is not the only thing that you should be focusing on. Here's the thing: if you only work on working like a bodybuilder, but then you want to be really good at martial arts, you want to improve in your sport, it's just not going to work. You have to prioritize your sport first, and then the weights come after. At the same time, if you're only focusing on your sport and you're not doing supplementary work like doing the weights and doing the push-ups, doing the pull-ups, then you're not actually going to be improving your general strength. And while you're improving your technique, you're not actually going to be able to execute the technique as well as you could be if you were stronger and if you had stronger joints. Weights do help with stronger joints. That being said, ankle injuries can still happen to anyone. So, like I said, incorporating the central nervous system training. Now, what do I mean by the central nervous system training? Using a balance ball for, doing little like knee hops on each side of your abdomen is what I've done. Then there was different kind of central nervous system training that I actually incorporated, that being one, and I didn't actually record all of them, but in the future I will be recording more and more kind of like functional training and ways of how you can actually become as efficient as possible. For an athlete, for any sportsman, especially when you're in combat sports, you are being tested in all ways. You are being tested against your opponent in terms of skill, strength, speed, timing, power, efficiency, defense, attack, like literally in every single aspect, and it's all happening simultaneously. In wrestling, in freestyle wrestling, you are going up against another grown man, or for women, another grown woman, and you guys are going at it in terms of strength, in terms of skill. You need to be able to make sure that you are working out all aspects of your physical performance. Working out solely in weights training can make you stronger, but it can also make you stiff, and it can also deplete you of unilateral performance. You want to be able to work unilaterally, working one side of your body and then the other side of your body. For example, a bicep curl. Now, bicep curls, I'm not saying is not beneficial. It is beneficial, and I do it myself. But if you're getting a barbell and you're just lifting it with both your hands at the same time, you're working bilaterally, or you're just working them both in a very isolated manner. There are different ways to work out, and you have to test and try with your body with in all of these ways, and that's how you actually learn. You don't learn by just listening to one person and then only following their plan. In that case, you can only be as good as that person. You want to be as good as you can be. You want to be the best version of yourself. So you have to, take little bits of every single person, learn as much as you can, especially when you're young. You want to absorb and soak in as much knowledge as possible. And at the same time, you want to keep working, testing, trying, failing, succeeding, getting back up, never giving up. That's the main thing. What happens is a lot of people, they fail once or twice, and then, do you know what I mean? They don't recover back. I think that when you sprain your ankle, there's definitely an element of mental strength that comes with it as well. A lot of people would feel doubtful, they would lose their confidence, and then that's when their performance goes down as well. You don't want to be in that position. You want to make sure that you use this time off. If you're taking a week or 2 or 3 weeks, or however long it is, it could be 2 months, 3 months off. You want to make sure that every day there is 100% still something there for you to do. There is still something for you to work on and improve in. If you've injured your ankle, you haven't injured your 2 arms, you haven't injured your other ankle, you haven't injured your other leg, you haven't injured your neck, you haven't injured your forearm. There are still limbs for you to work on. There are still techniques for you to improve on. And this is the main thing. Going back to me trying to recover in time from a wrestling competition, I had less than a month. But when I went to the physio, they said that it could take a month or 2 months for my ankle to recover. And I didn't really listen to what they said too much. I focused on what I could do, focused on my control, and put in 100%. I actually did recover in time. I recovered. I used an ankle support. I still do, just to kind of stay safe. It's very important that you take care of yourself in this moment. It's very important that you work on your ankle rehabilitation exercises, and it's very important that you also work out unilaterally. Us as human beings, we are designed to work unilaterally. We have the ability to work out with one arm and then doing another task with the other arm, and vice versa. If you could be working out one technique with one arm and then working out the other technique with the other arm. This is called brain to muscle coordination. This is very important, and this is one aspect of the central nervous system. You want to activate your central nervous system because this helps to bring out maximum efficiency and maximum performance out of your training. When you do that and you're putting 100% in and you're recovering well, every single day you are getting closer and closer to recovering, and especially when you're in a deadline, like having less than a month before your wrestling competition like I did, you have to incorporate these things. You have to take care of yourself this way. So guys, this is my ankle rehabilitation recovery guide. I hope you guys have benefited from what I've said. I'm only trying to give you guys knowledge on what many other people fail to give knowledge upon. You know, there are a million of ankle recovery exercises out there, and you may have not even needed to watch this video to find out what they are. But what's important is also the other aspect of your recovery, which is a lot of it is down to your mental aspect, your mental ability to withstand, to go through the pain, to go through, the doubt, and then obviously working out the central nervous system, which elite athletes have used, such as St-Pierre. If you're up to date with MMA, you know this guy, you know that he is one of the GOATs, and he done it. So guys, I hope you guys have benefited from this. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video with anyone who you feel like need to watch this video to become a better athlete, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.